welcome to the Superbone channel. We're interviewing top trombonists from around the world for International Trombone Week 2020. My next guest hails from God's country, Wales. It's Gareth Roberts. Say hi, Gareth.
Hi, hello.
He's released 2 critically acclaimed albums as a jazz frontman with his own Gareth Roberts quintet, and he teaches jazz trombone at the Royal Welsh College of Music and Drama. Thanks for joining us, Gareth. I really appreciate it.
Hi, welcome.
Let's get straight into the questions. I know there's a lot to talk about. Who is your favourite jazz trombonist? And give us a recording that you love of theirs.
There's a few I've got. Obviously, as all trombonists, I sort of take influences from different people at different times. But I think probably I'd like to mention 2 maybe. The guy who got me into playing jazz trombone would be Gareth Roberts. Because originally I was a euphonium player actually when I in school. I played euphonium till I was about 18, and my brother was a trombonist. But I heard a recording of it was a big band. It was a Andy Shepherd big band with Gareth Roberts on it, and he had this amazing solo which just had an incredible sound. And I think I spent about the next 10 years trying to sound like that, and then realised that was completely impossible. That no one could sound like Gareth Roberts, and I probably wrecked a load of gigs trying. But he definitely, and he still has been a big influence. The sort of energy of his playing and his incredible sound, which is unique. So he was definitely the guy that maybe got me into playing jazz, and probably got me playing trombone, to be honest, and made me sort of want to change from euphonium over to trombone, because you can't make that sound on euphonium.
No, you can't.
I tried for years for sort of being the first big jazz euphonium player, and then I picked up a trombone. It just sounded so much better with the skills I had at the beginning of playing trombone, that I stuck with trombone, and and I've done ever since.
Brilliant. I mean, going on to the euphonium, actually, I remember you were doing at some point a loop show with trombone and euphonium and a bit of a loop pedal kind of thing.
Yeah, I did that for a few years. It was about like 5 years ago. I sort of got put a thing together which used a bit of euphonium, a bit of trombone, and bashing a few things. And I did a few gigs, and they went down really well actually. But it was so much concentration. The whole sort of, it's like a permanent recording session, because if you play something, there are ways of editing it on the fly.
Yeah.
And also you're there on your own, and I quite like the company of other band members, and turning up to a club and hanging around on your own. It's sort of the whole thing about music is hanging out with other people, which we're all missing at the moment, obviously. Pretty well. There's a cover somewhere on YouTube of me doing Get Lucky by Daft Punk.
Yeah.
If people really want to go and have a look for it, there was so Gareth Trombone, it would be.
We'll
Google Gareth Trombone and the relevant words. I'm sure it'll turn up.
We'll chuck that in the comments. I'm sure I'll find it for you.
Yeah.
We've got off track already,
yes.
But let's get back to tell us about your favourite trombonist and what you'd love to take from their playing.
Yeah, like I said, we mentioned Gareth Roberts, really, his energy and his sound. But the other guy who's another one of the trombonists who's influenced me quite largely is Jimmy Nepper, because probably from the music of Charles Mingus, really, which is where he did his most famous work. Really, he was Mingus's trombone player for years, and the feel on those Mingus tracks. And the way he approached his soloing, I really like. So I went and looked into sort of a lot of his other recording, his solo recording, and I've got an album just him playing standards. It's called Special Relationship, of him with a couple of UK guys and a few Americans, hence the name. And he's just playing standards on it. And there's I think I remember when I was in college, I transcribed a lot of the solos off that, and his sort of line right, his development of ideas. He'd play a phrase, and then there'd be the next phrase would make perfect sense from that, and the next phrase would follow on, and that was really like a conversation.
Right.
And his swing feel and everything about the way he played. I spent quite a lot of time analysing certain aspects of the way he was playing there. He's also a big one for alternate positions. He used to play. I'd love to see a video of him playing some of those famous solos, which obviously doesn't exist, but because from what I heard, he played like all sorts of notes out in 5th and 6th that we'd normally play in the more home positions, just to get that fluidity of movement and and to get the tuning as good as he did
Yeah.
on playing, playing the, G's out in six and stuff, I mean, incredible.
Yeah. Oh, it's great you've mentioned the two guys that, bit left field for me, to be honest. Like the other guys I've interviewed, it's been a lot of Bill Watrous, and for me it was Bill Watrous, and Rosalino. So that's fantastic.
I mean, they're both great guys, and I've been influenced by all sorts of people, but I think those two quite uniquely,
Let's move on to your career, and can you tell us, how did you get into jazz, and who was biggest influence there?
Well, there's a couple of I didn't really get into jazz till I left school, really, because I was brought up playing euphonium in brass bands, and I had a great brass teacher in school. I probably wouldn't be playing brass if it wasn't for him, called Alan Phillips, in the Aberystwyth area. He just recently got an honorary fellowship, actually, from the university for all his work. He's just retired recently. And there's a lot of good brass players come out of Aberystwyth because of him. And so he got me into brass band playing and brass playing and stuff. And then there was a mate of mine called Thomas Williams, who played the Cardiff, a trumpet player, who was really into jazz, and played in the band with him as well. And he played me some recordings, and we got chatting in school and stuff like that. So I went to I sort of went and listened to a bit more jazz and really liked it, and then changed to trombone, and then sort of just went looking for ways of finding out about this new type of music. There wasn't really anyone around apart from Thomas who I knew how to ask about, and it was before the days of YouTube, and there wasn't many books around, so it was all from recordings and things. And I actually went to do an engineering degree, and just played a bit of trombone and euphonium on the side. And it wasn't until I finished the engineering degree and taught maths for 5 years, actually, that I eventually relented to the bug, saying sort of went to do a postgrad in the Welsh College of Music and Drama in jazz trombone playing, because gradually more and more late nights were affected by teaching career, making it harder and harder to get up and go to school after getting in after 1 week, 2 weeks, all right, but as soon as you start going out more and more nights, so eventually I went to do that, and then put a band together, released a couple of quintet albums, got into writing and listening to my own stuff, and recently I've got into big band arranging and big band writing and playing more with big bands.
Fantastic. So but that's really cool. I'm glad I am interviewing people like you, Gareth, because I get to find out these things that I did not know, because I wouldn't ask you this.
No, a lot of people don't know that I was a maths teacher, and I still teach maths part-time in school. And I have that balance of sort of working professionally as a jazz musician and a couple of days. It's quite a nice balance, to be honest. It's nice to have that guaranteed income.
Do you find that the math background has helped with your writing?
Probably, a little bit. I think not necessarily the study of maths, but the way my brain works is obviously sort of quite mathematical, and harmony and rhythm. And there's a couple of compositions I've written. I remember there was a composition of my first album called "Going Nowhere Fast," where I sort of had one instrument playing in 3, one instrument playing in 4, one instrument playing in 5, and I did quite a lot of sort of working out where they'd meet up and try to come up with lines that would. So I mean, sometimes when I'm composing, you just have to have a starting point, and occasionally it has come from a sort of rhythmically, what can I sort of come up with works here.
It's great.
I always think music is sort of basically, I mean, harmony is very mathematical, isn't it? Like the way you look at the progressions and the way things can flow from one to another. And I quite often say music is basically maths with feeling, really. It's sort of, it really does. You can understand. You can go through harmony, and you can explain it in a very mathematical way. Sometimes.
Yeah, that's a good album name, actually. Maths with Feeling.
Maths with Feeling. Okay, maybe that'll be my difficult third album.
Brilliant. Well, it's been so good to talk to you so far. But one thing I do not know is that as a performer, everyone ends up at a gig that just doesn't seem to go as planned. Do you have a story for us that?
I think we've all got plenty of stories, I think, and that's what keeps us going in those long hanging around before gig times, where we all sit around with a bar, sort of everyone exchanging stories about odd gigs and stuff. But I do remember at a Brecon Jazz Festival a few years ago when it was a very rain-affected festival, and I'd been playing on an out there stage, and I'd actually played the last gig in the out there stage on the Friday night, and it was a great gig. And it had been raining, but there was like loads of people dancing. It was a Latin jazz band actually, and they created a massive mud puddle in front of the stage on the Friday night. And then I was playing there again, the first gig on the Saturday afternoon, so quite hungover, playing with the band. It was a great band, but like there was no one there. It was raining, it was hammering down with rain. There was about like 20 people who mostly knew the band, like sheltered, like sort of under some trees, like where we could barely see them. And I did in the middle of some solo that someone else was doing, just to go for a stage dive into this massive mud puddle in front of the stage. So I think someone eventually got some photos of me doing it actually, and I sort of landed in this mud and then instantly regretted it because I was thinking I'm gonna have to drive home now, and there was mud everywhere. And my case has still got muddy marks on it from that one moment.
Finally, the last question I've got for you. We just want to showcase what you're doing at the moment. Is there something that's kind of near to your heart that you're really working on that you'd like everyone to know about?
Well, I think most of the time, what I've been concentrating on recently, obviously no one's doing much at the moment, playing wise, but over the last couple of years, well, last 5 years really, I've really got into big band arranging and writing. And I was granted the Jazz for Jed bursary to study jazz composition or arranging 5 years ago. And since then, I've written 4 big band tunes and original big band tunes, about like 6-7 minutes each, and a whole suite. I was commissioned to write a suite for a local community big band. So I'll be doing a lot of that, and I'd like to. I'm going to continue with that. I've got some ideas about to do that when I get a bit of time, which having two kids at home, I'm not getting too much time at the moment, but I'm sort of going home all the time.
Yeah.
When I get some time, I'm going to continue with that. But they're all available to hear on SoundCloud and all sorts of other places, and I'm sure you'll share the link.
Yes, of course.
With people. So the sort of I'd like to do a bit more big band writing, and that's sort of what it may be where my interest lies at the moment. So.
Brilliant, and everyone loves a big band. I've been touring the big bands of the UK.
Yeah, there's a lot of them out there. It's a great sound.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much, Gareth, for joining us. It's been really good to catch up with you again.
Yeah, good to catch up.
We will pop a lot of those links in the comments below, and we at Superbone, obviously, if you didn't know already, Gareth actually played our second gig with us. He actually kind of saved the gig by bringing along the Jay and Kai duets, and actually, I wasn't going to tell this story, but I probably should. When we got to half time, I'd realised that we'd played most of our repertoire as a quartet because we hadn't really opened up the solo sections. And I said to the guys, I'm like, what are we going to do? Do we repeat stuff? And Gareth's like, well, here's the duets. You told me bring them just in case. And we we actually, I remember it was the Torvine Jazz Club. And I remember the guy who runs it said at the end, he was like, I didn't expect it, but this is one of the best gigs that anyone has ever done at this jazz club. So I was really rapt that you saved the day.
I remember that. I was most impressed by Lloyd, the bass trombone that night, playing all those duets on bass trombone.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, phenomenal. It was really good. Anyway, thank you so much for joining us, and I'm sure once we get out of this lockdown, everything will start to move again for you, and you might get some time to write your big band stuff.
I will.
When you don't have 2 kids under your feet. So thanks very much,
Gareth.
Gareth.
I've got ideas at the moment. I've got ideas, and I've got ideas down.
All right, thanks very much.